wind howled across the endless steppe, bending the tall grass like the bow of 1,000 warriors. In the heart of this vast, untamed land, a child was born, one who would reshape the world. His name was Temüjin, later known as Genghis Khan. But before the empire, before the conquests, there was only struggle. Temüjin's early life was marked by betrayal and hardship. His father, Yasugei, a minor chieftain of the Borjigin clan, was poisoned by rival Tatars, leaving his family vulnerable. Abandoned by their tribe, Temüjin, his mother Holun, and his siblings were left to survive on the harsh steppe, foraging for roots and hunting small game. It was here, in the crucible of survival, that Temüjin learned his first lessons in leadership. Loyalty was fleeting, and strength was the only true currency. As he grew, Temüjin's charisma and cunning drew followers. His first true ally was Jamuka, a childhood friend, and for a time, they were as brothers, swearing an oath of eternal friendship. But the steppe was a land of shifting alliances, and soon, rivalry tore them apart. Jamuka saw Temüjin's rising influence as a threat, and their bond shattered in blood. Temüjin's genius lay not just in his skill as a warrior, but in his ability to unite the fractious Mongol tribes. Unlike previous leaders, he rewarded loyalty over kinship, promoting men based on merit rather than lineage. When he defeated the rival Merkit tribe, he absorbed their warriors rather than slaughtering them, earning their allegiance. This policy of integration became the foundation of his growing power. In 1206, at a great Kurultai council of the Mongol tribes, Temüjin was proclaimed Genghis Khan, universal ruler. The scattered nomads were now one nation, bound by a new legal code, the Yasa, which demanded discipline, obedience, and unity. But Genghis Khan's ambition stretched beyond the steppe. The first target was the Jin dynasty of China, a vast empire that had long oppressed the northern tribes. The Mongols, though fewer in number, were masters of mobility and psychological warfare. They feigned retreats, luring the Jin armies into traps, and used terror as a weapon, burning cities that resisted, sparing those that surrendered. By 1215, Beijing fell, and the Mongols plundered its riches. Yet Genghis Khan was not satisfied. His gaze turned westward, to the Khwarezmian Empire, a powerful Muslim state that controlled the Silk Road. When the Khwarezm Shah executed Mongol envoys, Genghis Khan saw it as an unforgivable insult. What followed was a campaign of utter devastation. Cities like Samarkand and Bokhara were reduced to ashes, their populations slaughtered or enslaved. The Mongols moved with terrifying speed, their horse archers striking like a storm before vanishing into the desert. But the true secret of the Mongol Empire's success was not just brutality, it was adaptability. Genghis Khan recruited engineers from conquered lands to build siege weapons, employed scribes to administer his territories, and even adopted new technologies like gunpowder. His empire was a melting pot of cultures, religions, and ideas, all harnessed for conquest. By the time of his death in 1227, Genghis Khan ruled the largest contiguous empire in history, stretching from the Pacific to the Caspian Sea. His successors, his sons and grandsons, would expand it further into Europe, the Middle East, and Southeast Asia. Yet few understood the man behind the legend. He was not merely a destroyer, but a unifier, a strategist, and a visionary who forged an empire from the chaos of the steppe. The rise of the Mongol Empire was not just a story of battles. It was the story of a man who defied fate, who turned the lessons of exile and betrayal into an unstoppable force. And though his name would echo through history as a conqueror, the untold truth was simpler. Genghis Khan was the storm that the world had never seen coming. After Genghis Khan's death, his empire did not crumble as so many others had before it. Instead, it grew even larger, fueled by the ambitions of his descendants. The great Khan had left behind not just conquered lands, but a system, a machine of war and governance that his heirs would wield with terrifying efficiency. Genghis Khan's third son, Ogidi, was chosen as his successor, a decision that could have sparked civil war but instead solidified Mongol unity. Under Ogidi's leadership, the Mongols turned their sights toward Europe. In 1236, Bata Khan, Genghis's grandson, led the Golden Horde across the frozen rivers of Rus, crushing the fractured Slavic principalities one by one. Kiev, once the jewel of the East Slavs, was reduced to smoldering ruins. The Mongols pushed deeper into Europe, defeating the Hungarians at Mohi and reaching the gates of Vienna. Europe trembled. The Pope called for a crusade against this new, unstoppable force. But then, in 1241, Ogidi Khan died, and the Mongol commanders withdrew not out of fear, but because their law demanded a Kurultai to elect a new leader. Europe was spared, but the message was clear. The Mongols could have taken it all if they wished. While the Golden Horde dominated the north, another of Genghis Khan's grandsons, Hulagu, marched south. His target was the Islamic world. In 1258, his armies surrounded Baghdad, the heart of the Abbasid Caliphate. The Caliph, believing his city's walls impregnable, refused to surrender. He was wrong. The Mongols bombarded the city with siege engines, then stormed its streets. The Tigris River ran black with ink from the destroyed House of Wisdom's libraries and red with the blood of its defenders. The last Abbasid caliph was rolled in a carpet and trampled to death, a Mongol tradition to avoid spilling royal blood on the earth. Baghdad, a city of scholars and poets, was left in ruins. The Islamic world would never be the same. In the east, another grandson, Kublai, completed what Genghis had begun, the total conquest of China. The Song dynasty, with its mighty armies and fortified cities, had resisted Mongol rule for decades. But Kublai was different from his predecessors. He did not just want to destroy China, he wanted to rule it. He adopted Chinese customs, built a new capital at Dadu, modern Beijing, and declared himself emperor of the Yuan dynasty. In 1279, after a brutal naval battle at Yamen, the last Song resistance was crushed. China, for the first time in centuries, was unified under a single ruler, a Mongol. The Mongol Empire's rise was not just about bloodshed. It was about innovation. They were masters of intelligence, using spies and scouts to learn enemy weaknesses. They were adaptable, incorporating conquered peoples into their armies. Their postal system, the Yam, allowed messages to travel faster than any empire before them. And unlike many conquerors, they tolerated religions. Christians, Muslims, and Buddhists all lived under their rule, so long as they obeyed. But their greatest strength was also their downfall. The empire grew too vast too quickly. Without a single strong leader like Genghis Khan, rival khanates emerged, the Golden Horde, the Ilkhanate, the Yuan dynasty, each pulling in different directions. By the 14th century, the empire had fractured, its pieces absorbed by new powers. Today, Genghis Khan's name is synonymous with conquest. But the untold story is one of transformation. The Mongols connected east and west like never before, reopening the Silk Road, spreading technologies like gunpowder and the printing press, and reshaping the world's borders. They were more than just conquerors, they were the architects of the modern world. And though their empire faded, the storm they unleashed still echoes in history, a testament to the power of a single man's vision, forged in the fires of the steppe.